Get codes everybody, because here we'll continue on with a game called Danganronpa Single File. Where were we? Yeah, here. Boop. I figure it's no surprise that none of us were willing to entertain a particular conversation. So we made our way back to the dorm, with those of us who felt up to the task attempting to console Mr. Eatwell. The Kuma kitchens he mentioned, I wish I could get more details, but the man's in no state to tell me anything about it. Frankly, I can't imagine when he would be. It's such a clear source of trauma for him. With Roger's silliness out of the way, there's still a bit of time to kill before round 2, where he shows that special surprise. If it's like his last surprise, I honestly wonder who among us would deem it necessary to attend. No matter. For now, the most productive thing I can do is to make myself available to help the others. Notifications blink upon my Ataro pad, each one indicating a new or saved message from one of the island's inhabitants. Choose a notifications check. I'm done with her. Let me you. What about you? Howdy, Vicky. I've been thinking about our talk earlier and how I need to gain experience. I'm drafting you to help me out with it. Come meet me at the academy building and we'll go through it all. And well, we'll go through it all. Meet with Miss Dunaway? Sure. Why not? I won't allow Miss Dunaway to think she can just draft me to whatever she wants, but I do think it would be a good idea to meet with her. It would be rude of me to point out her lack of killing game experience and then refuse to help her overcome it. Besides, I have to admit, the idea of acting as someone else's teacher is appealing. I've never had many opportunities to share my wealth of knowledge with others. This will be a good experience for us both. Right. I arrived to find Miss Dunaway standing in the hallway, wearing a big smile and holding her hands confidently upon her narrow hips. Something about this scene bothers me. Tires have been set up, laying horizontally down the hallway, from my entry point to the ultimate drill sergeant at the end of the hall. Through the glass windows, I can see what looks like tire swings arranged down one hall, and some sort of large steel drums lined down the other.
Now see here!
Miss Dunaway, it can't be that you're thinking of converting the school building into an obstacle course, are you?
Darn tootin'.
Congratulations on being the only recruit brave enough to answer my message offering my services. I gotta admit, I think you had the spine for it, but look at you. I asked for the brave soldiers to help me get drill sergeant experience, and you're the one who answered. Who'd have thunk it?
Impossible.
Miss Dunaway, your message clearly said that you wanted to build your experience as it relates to killing games, correct? No, you're reading it wrong. You made a good point earlier, remember?
I'm the ultimate drill sergeant.
Nobody's gonna take me seriously as a drill sergeant if I ain't got any experience teaching anybody. So we're changing that right now. You're gonna be the first recruit into my very own Dunaway death drill. Death drill?
Darn tootin'.
Pretty swanky, huh? I ain't got all the resources I'd like to have, but I did the best I could to put together an obstacle course with them. By the end of this, you feel like you're dead, like you've been drilled into the ground, but you'll rise up a stronger soldier than ever.
Now see here.
This isn't at all what I envisioned. Listen, what we need in order to survive the killing game is not the physical endurance of a soldier, it's to sharpen our wits.
No good. Low down.
You're saying you don't need any exercise? You? Really?
Impossible.
I could perhaps do it with a spot of exercise, but still, trying to run a training course with this will kill me. And this isn't normally done outside, on the grass or dirt. I couldn't keep it a surprise from everybody if I constructed it all outside, dummy. Anywho, let me put it this way. You wanted to talk my ear off about the killing games, right? Exactly.
Darn tootin'.
Well, then you gotta reach me, and that means you gotta hop through those tires to get to me. I'll walk around. If you do enjoy playing tag with me, I'll take off down the hallway. Har har har. Checkmate.
Impossible.
You little. Growling at the gross injustice that's just been committed against me, I shed my lab coat for the sake of the exercise, folding it and placing it upon the windowsill. Then I began to hop across the openings of the tires, stumbling and planting face first into one of the tires shortly into my attempt. As I rise up to begin to slowly make my way across again, I see the enthusiastic grin on Miss Dunaway's face slowly transform to a look of disappointment. Okay, stop. I can see we're gonna need to start with something easier and then work our way up to this. You're the sorriest excuse for a soldier I ever ran into, Vicky.
Now see here.
I'm not a soldier. I fall flat on my back as I finish the walk, Miss Dunaway breathing hard to recover my stamina as Debbie silently watches me. I will say I feel a bit motivated to get better, but just for the sake of never humiliating myself like this again. Maybe that's the power of the ultimate drill sergeant. Alright, let's start killing games, if you got the wind back in you now. Of course, I'm not that weak. Could have fooled me, but okay, here's my first question. Where should you start learning about these things? Do we go over the nastiest executions first, or how about the weirdest murders? Nothing like that, Miss Dunaway. We have to study these on a more fundamental level. Let's start with a critical subject. What is the most important subject that we should start with? Love this music. The Blackened. We'll start with discussing the motivation of the Blackened. Well, heck, that's kinda simple, ain't it? People wanna kill so they can get out of this gosh darn killing game. Only if that were simple, Miss Dunaway. The average captive is an ultimate, a tenacious person. They're well suited to last a while in isolation. What they can't always account for is the presence of the motive provided by the game's organizer. Ah yeah, the motive. They always got one of those, don't they? Indeed, motives can be anything, from a vague, mysterious game to an unveiled threat against person or property. The Agents of Despair excel in identifying what will cause the greatest torment to their captives. Yeah, those bastards. When they can't figure out a way to make everybody kill each other, they speed things along with those darn motivations. They could use a little discipline. A soldier worth admiring has patience. Yeah, well, they're not thinking about being admirable people, I assure you. Gain a logic shield. Not to cut you off, Vicky, but I gotta say, most of this ain't news to me. Remember, I had a top quality education at Bright Futures. I already been through basics, so all this fundamental stuff's been drilled into me. I need the juicy stuff. You're the ultimate researcher, right? You gotta have insights that nobody else has. Miss Dunaway, the truth is...
Impossible.
It's really just like any other study. You can identify trends and make predictions, but on the average case, solving it only becomes quicker and more intuitive. Creative solutions to the whole killing game enterprise fall into the realm of theory. Well, talk about that then.
Now see here.
The truth is, my greatest experiment, the single-file project, still in the theoretical stages at this point, relies on machine learning to solve the problem. That is, I've envisioned the solution to the problem may be too difficult for today's minds to solve. The solution is to hand the problem over to a thinking computer that can solve the problem in ways humanity cannot. Seriously? You're gonna rely on a computer to fix all this for you? I can't abide by it. No, sir. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. Miss Dunaway.
No good. Low down.
No buts. We're the ones that are threatened by all this. The ones getting trapped like rats inside the killing games. It's up to all of us to solve it. You think a computer can figure all this out when it ain't got no life to put on the line? Why is your message strangely resonant? I feel like I've had this very same thought before, but that can't be right. The limitations of human thinking are why I began to develop my experiment. She can't possibly understand that, having not participated in the same research that I have. I can see her thinking about what I said. It's knocking around in the old noggin.
I'm the ultimate drill sergeant.
I'd have figured I'd be the one who'd end up giving a lecture in the end. I am the ultimate drill sergeant after all. Class dismissed. I can see I've given you enough to think about for today.
Now see here.
But this was supposed to be my class. Why are you the one deciding it's time to end it?
You maggots!
Well, I'm calling it dismissed anyway. Thanks for showing up, Vicky. We'll do it again in the near future. When we do, I want to see you in better shape for the obstacle course.
Impossible.
Miss Dunaway, please, not that again. No excuses. Dismissed. And just like that, my first training session came to an end. Miss Dunaway is nothing if not committed to this cause. Even if our approaches are different, I cannot deny her commitment. I'm not about to throw away my experiment plans just on the basis of her intuition, but I will give her word some thought. Reference tab, yep, relevant info. Choose a notification to check. How about you, Miss Spy? I feel like we got off on the wrong foot earlier. Our relationship need be so adversarial. I feel like I'd like to make amends. Please meet me in the mess hall if you're of the same mind. Yeah, let's meet up with Miss Zadie. I still feel on edge whenever I see Miss Zadie. That dreamer killed her brother, and she exacted vengeance during the trial. Remains crystal clear. She has a good point. We have to be able to trust one another inside of this game. If I can't forget the terrible dream, then there's only one thing to do. I have to replace that misconception by learning about the real woman. In the process, I'll let her get to know who I am. Whatever she thinks she knows about me, showing her my real self will override whatever she suspects me of. Cool. I find Miss Zadie alone in the mess hall where she said she'd be. It doesn't look like Mr. Eatwell is around, but she's found food from somewhere. She brings a spoonful of soup to her lips. She moves the curtain in front of her face aside, just enough to allow the food into her mouth. I thought she hadn't noticed me, but as soon as she swallowed, she turns her head in my direction.
My.
There you are. I found myself hungry as soon as I reached the mess hall. Luckily for me, the pantry's well stocked. I made enough for two. Would you like a bowl as well? I'm not hungry just at the moment. Thank you for the offer, though. Really, it's only miso soup. It's quite light as a snack, a regular accompaniment with Japanese cuisine. I really am fine. I see how it is. You don't trust my food, do you? You think I may have poisoned the pot. I assure you that is not the issue.
You have it.
That mistrust is what we're here to address. Please, have a seat. I take a seat across from the ultimate spy master as she sets her bowl of soup aside and retrieves her folding fan from inside her sleeve. The fan is jet black with a suspicious eye glaring from its surface. It's only natural to be on edge around a stranger, however.
I think not.
I think it's more than that between you and me. I know why it is I have a hard time trusting you, and I'm willing to talk about it. However, why is it you have such a hard time talking to me? What should I tell her? I'm shy around girls. Let's say I saw her in a dream. The truth is, I saw you in a dream.
My.
I take it wasn't a pleasant dream.
Impossible.
I'm afraid it wasn't. I can't remember all of the details, but it was more like a nightmare.
I think not.
I can't imagine it was really me you saw in this dream. Perhaps it was simply a figure dressed in all black. It doesn't change the fact that there is simply no way you've met me before.
You have it.
Still, I understand that you've been honest and I appreciate that, but either way, it's quite a bit different from my reason for mistrusting you. Gain a logic shield. Wow, we're awesome in this. I was involved in a killing game before. In that killing game, I met a gentleman who looked nearly identical to you. He could have been your brother. Appearance-wise, he was a surprisingly thoughtful person. For a murderer, that is. A murderer? One that looks just like me?
I think not.
Look, past tense, for you see that man definitely perished. But here I see you, his doppelganger, in such a similar setting, and I have to wonder if I only imagine his death.
Impossible.
I have no relatives nor doppelgangers as you put it. Whoever you saw, it definitely wasn't me, and the resemblance must have been imagined.
My.
Victor, I think we should share a secret about ourselves, one that no one else knows, from deep in our past. How about the most embarrassing story you can think of? Embarrassing?
You have it.
I'll start. When I was younger, I wanted to have a cat as a pet. Unfortunately, my mother wasn't willing to purchase or adopt one. She didn't want us having to take care of a pet. I adored cats. I still do. So without considering the consequences, I constructed a little cage and trapped the neighbor's cat. I brought it home with me. Only,
I think not.
it never warmed up to me. It clawed at me so many times trying to escape. One time I howled out in pain and my brother came running. I was covered in scratches with tears in my eyes when he made me hand the cat back over to our neighbors and apologize. I can barely imagine such a scene. Is that why you cover your face now to hide scratches from your cats?
My.
I'm already wishing I'd never told you. Now please reciprocate. An embarrassing story from your past, if you would. I may be missing about 6 months of my memory, but I can remember before that time. I'm not totally comfortable sharing an embarrassing story around a stranger, but I'll try anyway.
Very well.
When I was younger, I didn't understand the concept of money. I came from a rather wealthy family and received a large allowance. I was not a proper study of human behavior. I was more interested in disassembling toys and machines than learning about other people. Thus, I was stunted socially. The other kids found that I was rich and decided to take advantage.
Impossible.
They arranged so that every day I give them 90% of my allowance. I went along with it, thinking that was how you were supposed to make friends.
My.
That's actually quite horrible.
Now see here.
You're telling me? I was devastated when my father explained it to me. If anything, it was in my isolation from other people. School was a rough time for me in general, if I'm being honest. But look at us, crying over cat scratches and bullying. There are far worse things in this world to worry about.
My.
You're quite correct. That must have been a painful memory for you. Thank you for sharing it.
You have it.
Most importantly, it seemed to be an honest recollection. If you're making it up, you're doing a very convincing job. You're not a blank slate like the other you I met. I'll try to trust you.
Very well.
And I will try to do better as well, Miss Zadie. She nods. I can't see the look on her face, but I suspect she's smiling. Feeling better now, I rise to leave her to the rest of her meal. She stops me with a question. Before you go, I'd like to ask, do you have anyone you need to protect, Victor? No, my father has practically disowned me and I have no other relatives. I live alone. If anything, I'd say the others in this game are the ones I want to protect.
You have it.
You feel responsible for them. Why is that? I can't say, but if I had to give a reason, it's because I'm the world's leading researcher of the killing games. What good am I if none of that knowledge I've amassed applies here?
You have it.
It's a good answer regardless. As for me, I have people I need to protect, my organization. I'll do whatever it takes to ensure their well-being. That's my responsibility as spy master. You'll do whatever it takes to escape the game?
Now see here.
You should be careful how you phrase that. It almost sounds like you're saying
My.
nothing so drastic as you're imagining. I'll admit that I have certain secrets I can't divulge. I'm sorry if that makes me seem untrustworthy.
Very well.
Water under the bridge, Miss Zadie. Thank you again for your invitation. I'm back with a curt bow. I'll take my leave from the table and put it somewhere else. The ultimate spy master is still hiding all sorts of secrets, but I suppose that's her job. If either one of us is hiding secrets the other needs to know, it's probably me. She's trying to break down that barrier with this frank discussion. I feel a sense of lingering guilt as I return to my room, regretting that I can't be more open with her. Cool. Soon it will be time for part 2 of Mr. Dodger's questionable ultimate icebreaker plan. He asked us to assemble once more in the cafeteria around 10 a.m. I don't have high hopes for it, but I plan to attend it anyway. If nothing else, it'll be a decent opportunity for us to all strategize before the kill detector test. That's assuming anybody bothers to show up. As if anticipating my qualms, the man himself sends another message addressed to the whole group. It's about time, everybody. Get together in the mess hall and I'll groove on down in just a minute with the surprise I promised you. Maybe you can all come up with another icebreaker in the meantime. Don't make me do all the work, lol. Another came through. Hey, I'm serious, you all better be there. Lol. Well, it clearly means a lot to him, even if the last part of his plan was a huge disappointment. Perhaps the second part will make up for it. What do you think, Mr. Xavier? Are you going to show?
Don't be an idiot.
I see absolutely no reason to do that. I'm busy in the laboratory right now. If you're actually interested in that stuff, then by all means, go. I'm sure it works into your grand scheme somehow. It probably takes a real genius like you to figure out how entertaining that man, again, serves any purpose at all in this game. She has a point. Initially, I thought it might be good to place some trust in him, since keeping the peace is, after all, his ultimate talent. Now it seems I was completely mistaken to do so. Still, there is a chance, if slight, that the second strategy might justify his first. I now know Miss Xavier won't be in attendance. I feel I can count on only myself and a handful of the others. With a sigh, I head back out to the Ataru rail. Oh, my neck. To my surprise, I'm not the only one who's decided to come back for a second helping of Mr. Dodger's absurd shenanigans. With the exception of Mr. Dodger himself, Miss Xavier, and the ever-absent Mr. Debunker, all appear to be present and accounted for. Was wondering if you'd show. You seemed mighty offended when Roger put you on blast earlier.
Carnations!
Can't say I don't feel a little guilty for talking everybody into it, but hey, what's the harm, you know? Being a greenhorn in the field of romance ain't nothing to get frustrated about, is it?
Darn tootin'.
If the two of us are too focused on our work to get up to any of that baloney, who cares? More time for focusing on the important stuff. I pity you truly, to imagine work occupying so much of one's time that one cannot spare time for the occasional flight of fancy. You are all in the wrong business, I'd say, ho ho ho.
Pitiful.
Or perhaps it is you who is too prone to the occasional flight of fancy. Sounds like occasional is putting it generously.
I think not.
Now, let's calm ourselves. You don't want the peace broker bragging that we all need him around to keep the peace when he returns and see us fighting, do ya?
You got it.
That's one thing I can get behind at least. You all do way too much bitching. I think that's the case of the sea calling, the river salty, brother of mine. I'm just happy everyone appears to be in high spirits. I apologize if I upset anyone earlier with my story.
Very well.
No need for apologies, you were right. That was indeed a very cautionary tale about the dangers these games pose to everyone.
Now see here.
Wait a minute, I think I miscounted a moment ago. There's one more person missing too, isn't there? Is counting a little too tough for you? There's 8 people here, egghead. Where's that crab apple always hanging around you? She's decided to sit this one out.
Impossible.
With Mr. Debunker and Mr. Dodger also out, that ought to leave one more person. You've forgotten the ultimate comms officer altogether, I see. I must say I feel offended in her stead, but then again, being forgotten might be exactly what she's going for. My apologies, do you know her whereabouts?
You have it.
I do, she's currently in the comms tower where we can expect her to stay anytime her presence is not implicitly required, such as when she needs to eat. I see, well I can hardly blame her for shunning this whole affair. Time passes with more small talk as we wait for Mr. Dodger's grand reveal. He's taking his sweet time. I suppose I'm still curious about a thing or two. I may as well use this time to get information from the others. Who should I talk to? Kobe, Destin, Liza and Roger, Zadie about Bailey. I like Zadie. You said you were sure that Miss Littleton was camped out in the communications tower. What makes you so sure?
My.
Come now, Victor, you've met her. I'm sure she was upfront about her intent to spend most of her time there. It's not as though there was much incentive for her or anyone else to attend a second one of Roger's icebreakers. It was a struggle to take that first one seriously. It won't surprise you to know that I have serious doubts about that man's authenticity as a peace broker. Indeed, that's been on my mind as well. It's more like he's just playing around. But back to Bailey. It does seem like the two of you are closer already than I would have expected.
You have it.
We do share a mutual hobby, keeping tabs on people. If Charles came out of that safe house, I'd imagine he'd be part of our people watching club as well. How about you, Victor? You're a researcher. After all, studying people probably involves spying on them too, doesn't it?
Now see here.
That is rather uncanny. It's odd that so many of you have no qualms with invading people's privacy. It's almost like a theme of here. But no, I have no interest in spying on people. I'll happily leave that all to you.
My.
Suit yourself. I will admit, being as nosy as I am is a good way to make yourself suspicious. Who should I talk to? Kobe about Destin. I am terribly sorry to hear what happened to you and your partner in Kuma's kitchen. Oh yeah, thank you, Monsieur Leeds. It was such a short time ago, and for such a brief period, but that game felt like it went on forever. Part of that was the horror, but also perhaps a desire to prolong my time with him. It may even be that I only feel it retroactively. What sort of person was this ultimate spy that he made such an impression on you? They say that dire circumstances breed fast friendships. Perhaps he and I were both caught up in the moment. We bonded over a shared interest, and I believe one might say we had similar personalities. Even before that point, I'd seen my entire family swept away in the killing games and told him as much. I found he had a healing presence. He too had lost much in the games, but he still seemed so whole and healthy. And yet he was capable of understanding my pain, which deepened our understanding of one another. Not to mention his brilliance when it came to cooking, I could hardly help but to admire his talent. I see, it was an easy friendship then. We had our differences as well. He was a bit of a joker compared to me. The others must have thought he had a troublesome personality. I'm sure they felt the same about me once I became friends with him. In the end, none of them cared for me much, regardless. May I ask why? My apologies, Monsieur Lees, but I'm still not ready to talk about it. In the end, I'm the one that failed them. I earned their hatred by means of that failure. Let's leave it at that. Who should I talk to? Talk with Eliza about Roger. Come to think of it, you and Roger have a shared history. You both participated in the Devil's Bargain together. It seems that despite that, he's a little cold towards you. I would have thought you two would be close after that experience. Cold towards Ma, you must be imagining things. As if anyone could resist my broad appeal. That said, I shall admit we didn't become as close as I'd have liked during that killing game. After all, Roger resolved it without a single death. It was over lickety-split. Hardly a trial fit for the ultimate escape artist. What a wasted opportunity, really. The nerve of that man. Yeah, quite troublesome of him to free you all from the killing game like that.
No!
You must understand, Victor, a killing game is the perfect opportunity for an escape artist. What more perfect prison is there for the magnificent Eliza Low-Key to attempt to escape from? Of course, I hold a grudge against her for releasing me from my first killing game with the not but a wet fart, peace, patooey.
Now see here.
You almost sound like you want to be trapped inside this killing game. I've certainly warmed up to the idea. The more I think about it, the more it seems like the second opportunity.
Impossible.
I hope you're not thinking of using the traditional method of killing game escape, Miss Loki.
No!
Murder is a means of escape, but hardly an artful one. Wouldn't you say? That would be like following the blueprint the masterminds handed us. How dull. I'll escape the killing game my own way in my own time. Hehe. I'm running out of conversation topics. The wait for Mr. Dodger is beginning to drag. It has been a full 30 minutes now and has not made his appearance. He hasn't responded to any of my messages either. This is beginning to feel ridiculous.
No siree!
I'm a patient guy, but I'm running short of my rope. All of us are busy fellas, aren't we? My pawn taught me not to waste other people's precious minutes. Seems like Roger missed that day of school. That guy's pretty untimely for somebody enrolled in a military academy. Wahaha.
You maggot!
You're absolutely right. This is a disgrace.
Aye!
I think I'm gonna step out and go find him. I'll be back in 2 shakes of a whale's tail. None of us have any reason to stop Skip. We allow him to go out searching for the peace broker on his own. If anything changes with the situation here, we can simply send him a message to update him.
You maggot!
Dagnabbit, and scattered all over the place. This ain't much of an icebreaker. That sailor does have some admirable qualities, doesn't he? I like a man who takes charge.
Screw that.
Keep a lid on it, you fucking weirdo.
I think not.
I wonder. Do you really think Skip went to check on Roger because he's fed up waiting? Perhaps it's just my nature to second guess everyone's intentions, but I've had another thought.
Screw that.
Go ahead and share it. You and that monocled jackass both like making people drag the answers out of you. It's goddamn annoying.
You have it.
I simply suspect that the real reason he's gone out is because he's as concerned as the rest of us are. Concerned? Are you not? After all, Roger was quite insistent about getting us all together. The first time we seemed just as serious about the second gathering. What could make him so late? Why isn't he responding to messages?
Despair.
Surely you see where I'm going with this.
Impossible.
You think something may have happened to him? Or perhaps the peace broker is breaking the peace against someone else at the very moment.
I think not.
That's highly unlikely. He would recognize the nonsense in committing a murder during a time like this when he's gathered all of us to act as alibis for one another. I suspect Skip wants to confirm if something has happened to Roger in the course of preparing that surprise for all of us.
It cannot be.
But all of us are gathered together here. There's no one to have done anything to the long-haired idiot. Are you saying he knocked himself out trying to bring whatever that surprise was to us?
My logic string is flawless.
Yeah, that's it. The surprise was probably a large firearm he intended to bring to me from the armory. He lost his grip and dropped it from the top shelf onto his head. He's unconscious and that's why he isn't answering our messages.
Super.
Witness my wrong logic string at work.
I think not.
Not quite. Remember, there are others missing. Bailey, Charles, and Maya. Bloody hell. Now it's Skip missing as well. The water's getting murky, as I believe Mr. Sullivan himself would say.
Screw that.
Why the fuck would I say that? I hate the water.
Now see here.
The other Mr. Sullivan. Everything suddenly feels as though it's coming apart. Why the blazes isn't Mr. Dodger responding? There's no way something happened to him in the short time since he sent that message asking us to assemble. My head is throbbing as I go through every reassuring reason he might have failed to show up. Perhaps this is in itself the icebreaker? Perhaps we were all meant to converse the bond enduring this time? Or what? What could that buffoon possibly be doing right now?
Carnations!
Carnations, we got a message. Relief. This must be Mr. Dodger, finally responding to let us know what's kept him. Or it could be Mr. Sullivan reporting the whereabouts of the missing individual. To my surprise, it's neither one of them. The message is from Miss Listening. Roger's at the port.
Now see.
What? He's supposed to be coming to us. Why in the bloody blue blazes is he there?
Screw that.
If that motherfucking hippie is touching my plane, I swear, I'm going to shove that fake ass metal down his throat. He's on the ship. He's trying to use that ship right now. Oh. I think he's planning to try to escape the island with the ship. I can't believe what I'm reading. How could he be such an imbecile? You got that right. I thought that guy was a stupid asshole, but he's gone the extra mile.
Impossible.
Indeed, he must have realized that the ship is encoded to a fingerprint system, one of his so-called secret locks. He'll be completely incapable of operating it, even with this ruse.
True that.
That's not what I'm talking about, egghead. The situation is a lot fucking worse than you realize. What? How could it possibly be worse? Before Mr. Shelby could answer me, another message from Miss Elizabeth directs our attention back to the Ataro pad. Roger has a gun! And Skip just showed up. He came off the Ataro rail.
Impossible.
No, Roger knows he's coming. The blasted monorail will have given him away. He's getting these messages too, isn't he? Why the hell isn't he stopping? I'll pass you guys into the video feed from my drone. Be all watching chair as our Ataro pad receives output from the drone's camera. I'm surprised you managed to figure out how to do this so quickly. There's no way any of us for us to save Skip now. The monorail would take far too long to make a rotation from here to that point. All we can do is pray for Skip's safety as he approaches an armed man. Uh-oh. There he is. I was hoping you'd show up. There's the gun. Sorry, you and the others have probably been really bored waiting for me to make my entrance, huh? Figured if you and your brother skipped out on my icebreaker, you'd come here, and if not, maybe I'd get lucky and you'd wander here one by one once you were tired of waiting. Either way, this is going down the same way.
No siree.
You make a big mistake, chum. There's a reason all fish swim in schools. The one who breaks patterns is the one who's drifting out to the deep sea.
No.
You're talking pretty tough for a guy with no gun. Anyway, this is how the great part of my ultimate icebreaker goes down. Roger's great escape. You're going to use your fingerprints to get this hunk of junk moving. It's already pretty much operational, right? If you don't, well, nothing says you have to be alive for me to use the prints, right? In fact, I think it turns off if you die. So we can play it that way if you want to, Popeye.
No siree.
I'm telling you one more time, if you drop the gun and put your hands up, we can go back to the mess hall like none of this ever happened. It'll be forgotten just like it's been scuttled under the sea. A lost ship, never to be dredged up again except by the foolish.
Well, some respect.
You're the one who's being foolish here, man. I'll kill you. You think I would do it because of the stupid game? Nobody's gonna have time to do a thing about it. I kill you, the lock opens, and I'm out of here. It doesn't matter if anybody figures this out, because there's not gonna be any trial. Not the first time I've broken the law and gotten away with it. Hehe. All things considered, I think I've been pretty gentle with you so far. Not a single wave chop in the blue. But you come between a man and his boat, and well, this is getting a little annoying if I'm being honest. If I'm screwing everybody over and leaving them in a killer game, might as well get a start on it, right? Sorry you got caught up in this, but blame the spare, not me. Nighty night. My breath had stopped. I watched with my eyes half squinted, expecting to see bloodshot from the younger Sullivan brother's head and stain his white sailor's uniform. But no, he dodged it. Just in time, Skip weaved underneath the point of impact with an amazing reflexive action. Count my blessings that neither of them drew blood. It's not the first mistaken count I've made today. Whoa.
You're joking.
You dodge it? That's not possible. How? My hand is what? What did you do to my fucking hand? You... Whoa. His fingers got cut. Gee, Roger, I tried to warn you. I told you it was a bad idea. You were like a fish swimming right into the mouth of a shark, with every chance to swim the other way. Why'd you have to go and do that? You know the one thing a sailor won't do is surrender his ship. I'm going to be sick. The other sailor has cut 4 fingers from the peace broker's hand. The gun clatters to the floor uselessly, forgotten at Mr. Dodger's feet as he kneels defeated. The would-be sailor is trying to wrap his fingers up in his neck towel to stop the bleeding, while the one who drew blood cleans his knife against one of the ship's deck's towels. I'm going to faint now, aren't I? Why am I not fainting? If you promise to play nice, I'll be happy to bandage those up with a nice and proper sailor's knot. Roger nods meekly as color drains from his face, his blood staining his towel and deck of the ship. Skip sets to work, bandaging the stubs with his ship's first aid kit. Sorry for the lesson had to come to such a high price, chum. The sea's a cruel mistress and I'm her cruel master. I'm just gonna take your pea shooter and your fingers and find a safe place for him. Though I guess we're all safer if you don't have a gun nor fingers, huh? Funny guy. What is going on? Yeah, what is going on? Oh shit. You have to stop it here, fellas. I got work to do today. So yeah, things are getting more and more intense. Holy shit. Who knew Skip that funny guy who's actually willing to kill people if someone's between him and his boat and ship. So yeah, Danganronpa, single file. If you want to try the game for yourselves, the links are in the description. That is all for today. Stay safe and take care of yourselves.